Once I got back home, the first thing that I did after copying all of my new footage to my computer was to work on editing the miniature stop-motion effects. I opened the video file and went to full screen. Then I scrubbed through the video one frame at a time using the arrow keys. Once I got to a usable frame of just the miniature on the table where my hand was out of frame, I took a screenshot. I continued to do this throughout the video, taking one screenshot at every position of the miniature turning, giving me a total of 69 frames to work with. Which was not deliberate, that's just how it happened, so shut up, don't comment what you're thinking of. Once I had my frames, I imported them into Final Cut Pro and assigned each one a duration of 1 frame. I exported it as a video file and then re-imported my new video file into my movie project to make it easier to work with. As hoped, the playback was much smoother this time around. Next, I edited the sequence of Maureen waking up and going out into the dark house. As expected, it took a lot of work to get the two sequences shot at 2 different times of the day to match up right, but I think I managed it okay. Also, I added in a loud booming sound right as Maureen wakes up, instead of my creepy voice.
And jerk awake.
And then I continued to play that sound, increasing in frequency throughout the remainder of the scene. I think it adds a lot to the sequence. I actually got the sound from one of the video clips that we had used earlier in the movie. Maureen is using some kind of a medical clamp to pry up the top of the miniature, the part that makes up the attic. And as she's doing so, the tiny ladder going up to the miniature attic falls and hits the floor with a soft bang. I isolated and copied that little bit of audio, boosted the gain level, and slowed it down by half to give it a deeper pitch. The result works pretty well, plus this way I won't risk getting sued for using someone else's sound effects. Today I started editing together the refilmed opening sequence footage that we filmed, but I ran into a bit of a problem. I had been trying to be efficient by getting multiple camera angles at the same time, but the result, at least in this one instance, is that I was clearly visible in the background of a shot. It's the shot where Maureen opens the fridge with the camera inside, and there I am in the background filming the reverse angle. Whoops. I tried blurring the background of the video, but it didn't really work. There was a big obvious blur box making it clear that something was being edited out, and since the blur was constrained to the rigid vertical and horizontal lines of the box, that meant that I would either not be blurring out enough in the background, or else I would be blurring something out in the foreground, i.e. Maureen's sleeve. So I took the clip and broke it down into individual frames, which I then opened in Photoshop. And I proceeded to blur myself out of the background 1 frame at a time. It took a while, but that's what I get for not being more careful. I've been editing everything together for a while now, and it's finally starting to come together. And I just had an idea. I decided to start a sequence with the footage that I shot of Maureen playing for Elise on the piano, and placed that right before a brief montage of her going about the rest of her day. The sequence begins with diegetic music created within the scene, existing within the universe, from her piano playing. Culminating in her giving up in frustration after continually hitting the wrong notes. This is then followed in the remainder of the sequence with a non-diegetic rendition of Fur Elise playing in the background. I thought that this was a cool idea to tie the sequence together. I ran the idea by my composer, Adam Mullen, and he agrees that it sounds cool. So the current plan is for him to write an original song based on the classic tune, starting with it being very similar and gradually getting less and less similar as it goes on, until only the odd note here or there remains of the original tune. Hopefully that won't lead to any copyright issues. Fur Elise is public domain, so I think that's okay. Hopefully. Anyway, in my rough cut with the original version of Fur Elise, after Maureen gives up on the piano playing, she goes to do her laundry. I knew that footage would come in handy. And then she goes to light the candles on her altar table. I think that the use of that music here really ties this whole sequence together quite nicely, in a neat little mini montage.